Three, two, one, and over to you, Chris, in the
Welcome,
studio.
everyone. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the SHB Unfiltered podcast. Today, it is episode number, Ruben?
46.
Episode number 46, which means we have been going live every day for 46 days straight. No breaks, full commitment. We made a promise at the beginning of lockdown, and we have stuck to it. There has been no missed episodes. Isn't that right, Ruben?
That is correct. That is actually correct. We are lying, I promise. This is
We're not
us
lying.
every day.
We're not lying. This is us. We are in lockdown. Well, today I've had to come into work. So my background is a little bit different to what people would be used to seeing me in my bedroom. But that does not stop us from carrying on. Now, Ruben, how's your day been, man? I haven't spoken to you much today at all.
Today's been a really good day. I've actually done a fair bit. So started off today. I'm doing some training at home around, I think, 6:30. Then had the SHB reading club. Sounds super cheesy, but it's actually really, really good. Essentially, what we do is we read. So whoever's on, yeah, literally, we read, Chris. And I don't know why you're laughing. Oh, they read.
No, I just thought it was pretty funny to say, today we had the reading club, and today what we've done was read. Obviously.
Sorry. I was just explaining exactly what happened before you rudely interrupted me.
I apologize. Go ahead.
Dude gets a mic and some headphones, and he thinks he's a king of the hill now, isn't it?
I'm getting too big for my boots, Ruben, on this side.
Very. But anyway, we just take in turns to read a paragraph each. And the good thing is, like, get a mix of people from different programs. So we just give everyone the freedom to practice the technique that they use on their program, their approach. And we don't interject or judge or say anything. We just say, look, just all we're doing here is redefining Stuttering by John Harrison. Taking turns, you incorporate as much or little technique, and whatever technique you use, just use it. This is your practice ground. We are doing this every day for the Stuttering community. At 7 a.m. every day we're up. I didn't miss yesterday, but I had a good reason to. I was working at 7. But yeah, it's a really good initiative we started. As with everything else we do, really good, isn't it? I'm a bit smug right now. The rest of the day was just kind of spending time with work and stuff, thinking about this podcast, and I guess reflecting a bit on past few weeks. I don't know how much longer we're going to be here, right? I think today was the first day it dawned on me that at some point we're going to have to stop the daily podcast. And it wasn't a nice feeling, Chris. It was not a nice feeling. But until then, we will have our way every day. And plus, I was readjusting the hair today, seeing how the length is going, and as you can see, the band is in full flow. The guy I get to do my hair, so I don't think he will be available for some time because his mum is really ill, and he's worried about getting the virus and stuff. So even if they ease restrictions, I probably won't see him for a while. So I guess my hair will be growing out for a bit. And
I feel like you're beginning to like the headband. I feel like you're getting used to it and could be something that you might potentially keep after lockdown.
Potentially. The problem is actually because of the way I cut my hair normally. There's different hairs with there's different strands with different lengths. So it'll take time for everything to actually be in line or working together, because at the moment I'm having to tame the hair. that's actually why I got the headband, because I was getting to a point where I was struggling to actually keep my hair in a appropriate state, because I've gone past the point where I would have got that haircut, because I'm probably a month over now, so I should have had 2 haircuts by now. The last one I had was a week before the wedding in
Oh wow, that was a while ago then.
end of Feb, and we are in the beginning of May now. It's going into like 2.5, 3 months coming up, and
It'll be all right, Ruben.
I know
We
we'll
will
pull
get
through
through
it together. We'll pull through it.
We will be able to pull through it. How do you think that yesterday's podcast went? Any reflections? Anything happened since, Ruben?
Yesterday was wicked, like really, really good. I'm still buzzing from it, to be honest. And funny thing is, like, I think we got quite a few positive messages afterwards from people saying, you know what, that was actually like really relatable. And like, got a lot of good feedback from people who don't stutter as well. I got invited onto another podcast as a guest.
Really?
Yeah. So I'll be doing that at some point, which I'll share and kind of talk about a bit later on when I know a bit more. And I think I've got like, 2 guest appearances now booked up. Yeah, I'm in demand now, bro.
You're in demand.
In
You're in
demand.
demand. That's actually funny you should say that, because yesterday I got invited on another podcast as well. And
is it called The People's Pundit, or is it called SJ Recruitment?
it's not called either of them. It's not called either of them, thank God. No, what's actually really nice about this invitation is that it's not stuttering related at all. It's actually business related. And it's a business podcast. It's a new one that a couple of guys are setting up, and they want me to be part of it, and they want to interview me. So I'm quite flattered, to be honest. That's my first business. That's my first approach to be a part of a business podcast. So quite looking forward to it.
Oh, very, very, very interesting. The one I was invited on is it's pretty new, and the host is she's a Tamil, or like myself, from Sri Lanka in the north, and she's kind of just interviewing different kind of the young Tamil people who were doing interesting things in the community, and she seemed to think I'm doing something interesting, probably. So I want to talk about it.
Yeah, she must. She must. Which you are, Ruben. Which we are. So it's cool. But yesterday, I found it quite funny, to be honest. I found it quite funny. We had a lot of great messages, a lot of great comments saying that, well, my favorite comment is still Callum's Champions League tier episode, which was great. But as always, to be expected, and as I've always heard, you are no one until you've got a public hater. So yes, we have officially made it, Ruben. We have officially made it. Yesterday we did have a comment asking how this helps people who stutter. So I'll pass over to Ruben to read it out, as I do not have the comment right in front of me now.
Preparation, Chris. Preparation, my dear Chris. Okay, so I'm not going to fully air out the guy, but his name is Robert Lucas, and he literally said, "How can this help people that stutter? All you guys do is talk." And just to clarify, he put this comment in a Facebook feed for a podcast. So I'm not sure what else he expected from a podcast. Chris?
Well, it's a couple of things here, really. It's either he wasn't sure it was a podcast, one, or he's not sure what Stop Holding Back offers. as a charity. But to put it frank, I can't understand how 3 people who all stutter, sharing their experiences, talking live on Facebook, talking about their experiences and offering advice cannot be beneficial to other people that stutter. What's your take, Ruben?
Yeah, without a doubt. And I just find it kind of incredible that he commented on that episode in particular out of all of the ones we've done recently, because fair enough, there was one where I think 2 actually, where Chris and Zach came on. Sorry, Chris came on with Max, and the other one with Ammar by himself, and both those conversations just tailed off into football at some point. So we had to like pull it back in. So I could understand if he had some qualms about those ones in terms of application to stuttering completely. But yesterday was pure, just kind of real stuff and like real stories, real emotions, like each of us like time traveling back, talking about stuff that we haven't even mentioned to each other, and just doing it like live on Facebook, face live. And and my man like Robbie, not sure what else he wanted from us, to be honest. Did he want us to literally take him out and find him a date? What did he want from the episode?
I don't know.
If it was more specific, then fair enough, we could have helped him out. But if he's holding back, then unfortunately we will have to as well, isn't it? Because we can't help him if we don't know what he wants. But hey ho, you can't save them all.
You can't, but he's been signposted to our website where we have all the information and all the services the charity offers. So there's more than enough information for him to find out exactly what Stop Holding Back Foundation offers.
Definitely. And I should have actually invited him onto the reading club. He isn't reading.
Yeah.
But that would have actually helped him.
So if you're listening, you are officially invited to the SHB Reading Club. Contact us to get involved.
Come on, mate. Don't hate on the podcast. Don't hate, please. It's my baby.
It's Ruben's baby. It's all our babies. Moving on.
Go on, sorry.
This episode. Moving on to the reason why we are here today.
Go on, Chris.
Let's take it back. Today we are myth busting. That's what we are doing. We are myth busting.
What does that mean, Chris, first of all, before we get into the meat of the myths?
Well, around stuttering, there are a number of myths. There are a number of myths or assumptions that people make. And it's our job today to hopefully bust those myths. So this is how it's going to roll out. Ruben has a list of myths and he's going to be rolling them out and we're going to be busting them together. So, Ruben, whenever you're ready, hit us with the first myth.
I feel like we're missing some kind of theme tune, no?
Some music in the background.
Yeah. I think we'll actually suit this episode a lot, but we don't, so we'll just carry on. This is 2 of us, our voices, our charisma will actually take this forward. Myth number 1, Chris. People who stutter are not smart.
My God.
I actually find that offensive. It's not even a myth. I just find that offensive.
That is the most annoying one. Like, I struggle to understand how people can even think that, because how can you make an assumption? Okay, you can argue that because you haven't articulated yourself very well and you haven't gone into too much detail, I don't understand. But if I've done those things, then how can you just assume the worst rather than, oh, perhaps he just didn't tell me? I don't like that one at all. I really don't like that one because it's so far from the truth.
Before I carry on, sorry, I should say these myths are taken from the Stuttering Foundation, a non-profit organization helping those who stutter since 1947.
Thank you for clearing that out, Ruben.
Back to topic. I personally think this is something that's kind of just been there through time, but I don't think it's purely the fault of the people who assume so, because when kids are growing up, I've heard this a couple of times, they do make the link of kids who are able to speak fluently or speak and engage in conversations earlier in childhood as clever, and quieter kids maybe a bit behind, if that makes sense. And then with stuttering, because it is a communication issue, that doesn't kind of put weight into that first column, that gives kind of favor to kind of like good communicator equals smart kid. Not good communicator equals a bit behind. However, we do know in adulthood it's kind of a different ballgame, I think. But this could be more related to childhood stuttering. What do you think, Chris? Call me out if you think it's BS. It's cool.
No, I don't think it's BS at a young age. When you're talking toddlers, then okay, potentially. But when you're talking about adults, it's a completely different ballgame. It has no reflection on how smart someone is just because they have a stutter. I think that because of the negative stigmas that are attached to stuttering, like nervousness, unsure, not confident, I think those help people come to that assumption. People that are fluent, people that are confident, they look you in the eye when they talk, come across like they're more sure on what they're trying to say. They're more confident that they're comfortable and that they're 100% certain about whatever it is they're talking about. So that is why I think the assumption comes. But if you just took a little time to get to know us and give us a little bit more time to get our words out, you'll realize that we're not stupid and we are quite clever. Well, Ruben is anyway.
So you, Chris, don't worry. As they always say, don't judge an elephant by its ability to climb a tree. Climb a tree. Don't judge us, man. Judge us. We'll come after you.
Yeah.
Number 2.
So moving on to the next one, Ruben.
Number two. Let's keep it rolling. Nervousness causes stuttering. Just to clarify, stuttering can be worsened by nerves, but I think this maybe is pointing at the myth that nerves are the root of stuttering. CJ.
Yeah.
Tell them why this is wrong.
Well, this is wrong. People that stutter can stutter at home in the most comfort of comfort zones. Nervousness will increase it usually. It will make the severity of your stutter become more severe. But to totally think that you're stuttering because you're nervous, and then people usually tell you, okay, just relax, calm down, take a few breaths. If it was that easy, I would be doing that all the time and I would hardly block. It's not as simple as that. It is not just because you are nervous. People stutter because of a fear of a sound, and it is their self-doubt on their own ability to get that word out. It's nothing to do with being nervous. Ruben, anything to add on that one?
Yeah, I'll just be repeating what you're saying, probably, but I think just from the outside, looking at someone stuttering, the secondaries, they all kind of have similarities of someone who's very nervous. So the secondaries that you could be showing when you're blocking and freezing, similar to features of a nervous person. Maybe getting a bit clammy, like loss of eye contact, feeling kind of like a bit flushed, and struggling to breathe in a regular pattern, etc. This all kind of links into nervousness, and then at a more extreme level of nervousness, at a more extreme level of nervousness, anxiety as well. However, we know that it isn't strictly kind of true, because stuttering is a whole different ball game. But other people on the outside, they will not know that. Hence the myth. That's why it's called a myth.
Do you think that stress can cause someone to stutter?
I'm not going to answer that actually, because it's somewhere further down the list.
Oh, okay.
So we'll come back to it. Stop
I've jumped the gun.
Ruin the script. Stop it. Get the mic, gets headphones, and thinks he's running the show now, isn't it? Come on, mate. Fall into line, Chris. Fall into line.
I apologize. I will step back.
Thank you very much. I'm joking, don't I? This is the one. This is the one. Number 3. Stuttering can be caught through imitation or by hearing another person stutter. Oof. Brutal.
That is brutal. I'm not sure if that's a myth, though. I don't know if that is a myth, because...
Come on, man. Really think about it. Like, I've got hay fever. Yeah, you can't catch hay fever. You can't catch it. You either have it or you don't have it.
Yeah, but if you're a young child, like, for example, with that Tony Robbins video that we watched a couple of podcasts ago, well, a few podcasts ago now, the person in that video claimed that he was obsessed with a cartoon character, and because that cartoon character stuttered, he picked it up. Now, that would be a learned behavior. That would be something that he picked up. So if that's true, does that mean that that myth is not actually a myth?
Well, I'm about to demystify that, actually. Because if you remember the entire conversation, why was he imitating that cartoon character?
It was because he could get his parents' attention.
Kind of, because parents used to argue and stuff.
Yeah.
And it caused him like a bit of emotional stress. And that particular cartoon character was known for messing about, I think, but then somehow get away with it by gaining sympathy, as in through. That's probably like a really bad explanation of the story, but stuttering was a big part of that character actually finding his way in the show, and so he took on that characteristic and to try and apply it in his actual life, and he did that from a young age. However, the real trigger is the emotional kind of impact, because if he didn't see that cartoon character, he would have found some other way to, like starting fires and stuff, or just getting aggressive maybe, because these all have like kind of these are like the roots of some of people's characteristics when they get into teenage life, purely because of the indirect learnings from the environment as they're growing up.
He's saying that he was using that as an outlet.
Yeah, and in a strange way, fair enough, stuttering is terrible, but it could have been like the best of a number of other possible routes that he may have actually gone through, right?
Okay, I've got another thing to point out. What about when parents are worried or concerned that their children will have a stutter because they are listening to them stutter?
I did mention once on podcast a few weeks ago. One person I know, his sister stopped him from speaking to her kids because he was stuttering in front of them, and then they start to have blocks and stuff as well. And she literally banned him from speaking to her kids, which is a bit deep.
Yeah, that is harsh. But then does that prove that it could be true then?
I can't say because his brother also stutters. It's in the family somewhere, and you can't purely blame him.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't purely blame him. And plus, I think 2 out of 5 kids aged 5 to 10 have fluency issues, and 8 to 9 out of 10 of those grow out of it.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's
Come on,
no way
man.
no way to prove that there is definitely a link there.
No way. No way.
There's no way. Okay, so that is that myth completely busted. Ruben, on to the next one.
Here we go. It's a classic, right? It helps to tell a person to take a deep breath before talking, or think about what you want to say first, and then you're cured.
Cured. Then you're cured. Just tell me to take my deep breath, think about what I'm saying, and then I'm cured.
Well, I put the then you're cured bit in myself. It doesn't actually say that on the website. I apologize for the fake news.
No, but what you're trying to say is that's the assumption that a fluent speaker who does not have that much knowledge on stuttering will have.
Exactly.
Myth. Total myth. Total myth. Because there's people that take deep breaths all the time and they still block. There's people that are struggling to get a word out and they release it. It's actually a technique in a lot of programs. And it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be able to get the word out the next time.
Just a quick one, Chris. What's probably a bit more worrying actually is, so for each myth, they have a sentence or two that they call reality. So for this, they said the reality is this advice only makes the person more self-conscious, making the stuttering worse. More helpful responses include listening patiently and modeling slow and clear speech yourself. Is that all right, Chris?
What?
How is your day today?
So,
dude, that is also a myth as well, I think. I'm going to write to the Stuttering Foundation, the non-profit organization helping those who stutter since 1947.
1 minute, let me just work this out. So they're telling people to replicate how the person speaks by slowing down their own speech.
Not replicate exactly, but if slow speech, if that enables the person who stutters to actually speak more easily, because this probably ties into their interpretation of time pressure. So if the listener is now slowing down their speech, it takes away the time pressure for the speaker. However, it does come across as a bit patronizing.
Yeah, extremely. And that would put me under more pressure. It'd be like, now I have to speed up so that they feel like they can talk at their normal pace.
And
I mean, how would you feel, Ruben, if someone started to speak with a lower pace than what you know they usually speak at to accommodate you? How would that make you feel?
More subconscious, probably, which is what they're trying to debunk right now.
Yeah, that is a myth. That comment is a myth. So any fluent speakers, please do not do that.
Yeah, it's terrible. When I want to go to the next one, I'm going to call this one the number 5 when it should be number 4.
Okay, go ahead.
This is your favorite one, Chris. Stress causes stuttering. So you jumped the gun earlier, but did you ask me what I thought about this myth?
I asked you, yeah.
No, but it doesn't help stuttering. So the wording here is stress causes. However, I think stress can trigger it. From a young age, stuttering can be activated by stress as opposed to caused by stress. And then as you grow up and kind of speak, stress does maybe amplify it, because it doesn't help your breathing, it doesn't help your kind of your system, etc. It can make things worse. It doesn't cause it, but it can trigger and make things worse. Hence why it's a myth. Do you have anything to add on that, Chris, before we find out what they make of their reality behind that?
Well, I think it's important to point out that stress will not be the root cause of why you block and why you begin to stutter from a young age. But I do think that as you work on your speech, it's a lot harder to implement tools and techniques when you are highly stressed. That's the experience that I personally have. So people will point out to me that your speech hasn't been quite what it has been. And I usually put that down to stress. Personally, I find that when I'm highly stressed, I'm less able to implement my tools and techniques that I use on a daily basis. I don't know if you find that you struggle to do it as well, Ruben, when you're highly stressed.
Yes, I do, but I don't really have kind of stressful days. I maybe have stressful periods within a day, but I haven't ever thought of it entire day as stressed, because I would always try to actually move on to the next situation, because work is pretty fast paced, and I think I've just got that kind of it's part of my personality to try to just look at the next thing instead of looking back, because I did used to dwell quite a lot in the past, but I didn't find that was helpful, and kind of like when you're doing like a lot of training, sports and Thai boxing, all that kind of stuff, you always have to look forward, and kind of like you can't just think, oh, I got punched just a few seconds ago, oh my god, why'd I get punched? I should have blocked or slipped, because in that period you're going to get punched a few more times and kicked a few more times. So I've just kind of developed that. Actually, it isn't something I've always had. I've had to work on it myself, just to look forward, because that's the other thing as well. Keeping your cool when someone's trying to beat the crap out of you. That's a skill I've developed, and if you can actually manage to calm your breathing and get out of situations in the ring when someone's trying to hit you, that's kind of like a testament of managing stress really well. And then when you carry that into day-to-day life, when it's physically safer, it's a lot easier, a lot easier.
Yeah, I think it's an important skill to learn, because not only is it good for managing stress levels, but like what you were just describing there, it's great for learning how to conserve your energy rather than wasting energy. And I can mean physical and emotional energy, because if you allow yourself, like I know I do, and this is something that I'm working on, I'm trying to get to the position that you're describing you are now in, where you no longer dwell and you don't allow things to stress you out for long periods of time. You find your way to get over it and move on quite quickly, which is something that I'm working on. And I find that when I am dwelling and I am allowing it, I am giving it too much attention, it wears me out. It wears me out. And the tiredness I find can also contribute to how well or how committed I am any given day to focus on working on my speech. When I'm tired physically, I do begin to slack. So you realize how important it is to look after yourself, look after your emotions. Are you managing stress? These are other contributing factors to how well you can implement tools and techniques, and how committed you end up being to working on your speech.
It's really interesting you say that, actually, because I've actually watched back a few of podcasts over the past few weeks in my spare time, and some of the days that I've been really kind of busy at work and had loads of meetings and stuff, and kind of stuff in the morning with SHB, then work early, and then this, and then podcasts. I've actually, you can kind of see in my speech a bit, it's a bit, it isn't as assertive or energetic as it has been in some other episodes. So you can kind of see it. And for people who stutter, that edge is quite important, because it can be the difference between like bang on killing it or just kind of like doing all right but managing the situation for that day or whatever. So that kind of extra 5-10% can make a massive difference for us, Chris.
Yeah, 100%. And it's also important when you're coaching someone as well, because it's not just about the physical technique. If they are struggling, try and find out why. Is stress playing a massive role in it? Is it a factor? Is it preventing them from implementing it in the real world? All these things. And as a coach, you have to work out how to deal with it yourself so that you can coach someone else on how to deal with it. Because stress, you will definitely be stressed at some point in your life. And are you going to allow your speech to, excuse my French, but completely go to shit? Or are you going to allow yourself to continue to work on it? Because if you can work on your speech when you are highly stressed, then that will reinforce your belief system like nothing else.
Definitely. And I think that was probably one of the massive breakthroughs I had when I actually managed to smash this one event that I was chairing, actually. So I was chairing and the host of this big event. And that entire week, my speech was like to the pan, as in kind of like I was struggling to get practice in because of work and busy, and then just general conversation was block after block, etc., etc. But I had my kind of energy focused on this one event, and literally smashed it. Got filmed and everything, and it went around kind of the company and stuff. And it was literally I was the host of a Q&A session with a panel. So I had to like introduce the day, introduce the event, introduce the guests, and pose questions to them, give some bants, and like link their questions with the rest of them, etc., and then close the show. So it was a lot of fun, and it showed me that you know what, like if I can pull this off under like this amount of I guess stress and doubt, then anything's possible. And that gave me like a lot of belief that, you know what, you don't have to always be 100%. You just need to turn up, because as long as you turn up, you got a chance.
Yeah, that's for sure. We always miss 100% of the shots that we don't take. But Ruben, I've got a question. Was it work related that was stressing you out at the time?
Yeah. And
okay.
I think it was just more really busy, just really back to school kind of thing. I think we had like people leave the team at that point. Some more like kind of things to do, like quite a lot of pressure. But that's just life, I guess. It isn't like something to cry about. There's something to deal with. It's life, bro. It's life.
Yeah, it's life, and stress will come, it will go, and we can't use it as an excuse as to letting our speech slack.
Exactly.
We have to continue, and we have to keep moving forward.
Definitely. CJ, I've got no more myths left on that dodgy website, but I do have a few of my own that I'm going to chuck right at you. Hope you're ready.
I'm prepared.
People who stutter are patient.
Yeah, that's a myth.
Definitely.
That's a myth.
Definitely.
That 100% depends on the individual. I'd say that I'm impatient because I have a stutter. I'd say because I want everything quickly. I want everything yesterday. I want things to be completed yesterday. I don't want to wait. And I think growing up with a stutter and always in a rush to get my words out, or always nervous and apprehensive, that's shaped that trait in me. Are you impatient, Ruben, or are you quite patient?
It
You're
really
quite a patient
depends.
person.
I think it really depends, because I think I used to be quite patient before, but as I've got older, I've just stopped tolerating PS. Like I don't know, just I think it depends on the situation and the people, but when it comes to certain situations, patience, man, I do have patience, but at times I don't have time to mess about with time wasters anymore. I'll give patience to the right situations and the right people, but if I can see that there's no like value in the long run with pursuing kind of this, like, I don't know, just I don't have time to actually kind of waste at the moment. And I think that's more, isn't like impatient, but is more realistic, because back in the past, I'd feel that I'd have to give all my time to people, but you can't do that anymore. A, because it's hard to actually do it and keep everyone happy. And B, quite a lot of people take advantage of your time. Isn't that right, Chris?
Yes, that is right. That is definitely right.
You ready
And
for the
that's
next
all I
one?
have to say on that one. Yep, let's go on to the next
Sorry,
one.
sorry. People who stutter are good listeners.
I don't know if that is a myth. I mean, that could be anyone. Just because you got a stutter, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're a good listener.
Mate,
But
some of the worst listeners I've met are those that, put it that way.
yeah,
They're so
I
busy
mean,
worrying about what word they're gonna block on, or avoiding words, and which technique they're gonna use. Like, you might as well just be talking to a brick wall sometimes.
yeah, I agree with that. And I think in the past, I've definitely been guilty of that. I think that when I was struggling the most and every speaking situation was just hell for me, I think, yeah, there was times I was looking in the person's eye, keeping eye contact, but I wasn't listening at all. I was just thinking about what I was going to say. Was I going to be able to say it? What words were I going to block on? Was I going to block on? So yeah, I don't think it does make us good listeners.
I've actually had times when I've been speaking to people, and they've been kind of these are like conversations where they have called you and just want to chat, or that they want to ask for help, and then they speak for a bit, and then you give them kind of a bit of advice, or you just kind of just respond back to them, right? They come back with, yeah, I totally agree, and then they go off on a tangent, and I'm thinking, did you even listen to me? Because you're just contradicting what I said. And then this carries on through the conversation, and by the time it finishes, you just think, you know what, did they even ask me how my day was? And it just kind of like it's very it's one way, and I think B, I think this is probably like kind of the root of some of my patient issues. This is where it started, because some of these kind of I think relationships or conversations, they aren't kind of like two-way. They're very very one way. And it's not cool. It's not cool. I've got feelings too.
Ruben's got feelings too, guys. But I wanna quickly turn our attention to the Facebook feed, Ruben. Today
What's going on?
Yeah, I'll tell you what's going on. We've got Adam Wright here. Hi, Adam. Thanks for tuning in. Adam Wright has said, no one person stammers the same. So how can they come up with these statements such as being patient when we're all different? I totally agree. Totally agree. Good listeners with two laughing faces. He was told this all the time. And Adam's got a myth of his own. People who stutter are caring. Hears that all the time on social media. What's your take on that, Ruben? People who stutter are caring.
You can tell that whoever came up with these statements, as in probably, it's just, I don't know what to say, to be honest, because if you really think about it, everyone is caring in their own way to the people that they care about. It's fine. Right?
Yeah.
Regardless of how bad a person you are, you do have that kind of caring tendency there to your like mum or whatever, or your partner. So just these types of statements, this is the reason why people don't take stuttering seriously, because of these types of statements. Because if I was like an outsider looking in, and if I see a post or whatever and someone's face is there like smiling, or it's just some with a speech bubble saying, I've got a stutter and I'm caring, I would look at it and just I wouldn't know whether to laugh or whether to cry, or like whether to think like, what is this? As in, are they trying to clarify that we start, but don't worry, we are caring as well? Are they trying to reassure people that we got emotions and we care about you? I just don't understand kind of these types of things, because I've come across people who don't appear to be caring, and that's cool. I don't really care. And vice versa. It's just personalities, right? Stuttering is just one aspect.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if I saw that, I'd be like, why do you feel the need to justify that you're a caring person just because you have a stutter? There's no correlation at all. There's no link. So yeah, I mean, I'm like you, Ruben. I don't know who writes these things. I don't know who comes up with it.
Yeah, I'm going to call BS on that one.
Yeah, I am too.
I've got another one actually, which is so fair enough. Like, if someone's blocking and stuttering, give them time. But there's always this caveat where kind of it's worth the wait, or like kind of
I know where you're going with this.
Sometimes we come out of crap. And I'm speaking for myself as well. And just because I block and I freeze sometimes, it doesn't mean that I'm spitting out gold and it's going to make someone rich. Sometimes I'm coming out with a terrible joke, or sometimes I'm even bullying a friend or something. And is that worth the wait? Probably not. But it's kind of like the age-old like kind of thing. I've mentioned this a few times, where it's actually add more pressure to the person speaking. Because say like if you are in a situation now with a few other people and you're saying something and you're blocking and freezing, and one of them's thinking, oh, don't worry, I saw this poster the other day on a tube station. It said, I've got a stutter and it's worth the wait, just give me time. All right, guys, let's give him time, it'll be worth the wait. and then you finish a sentence and it's completely dead. I think that would be actually worse than the actual block itself, to be honest.
Yeah, it's people expecting a lot. It's just people just expecting every time someone who stutters finishing their sentence is going to be straight fire, which we know it's not. Just like not all people that stutter are stupid and not all people that stutter are smart. Just because we've got a stutter, it doesn't automatically mean we're smart. We're all individuals. And I think it's important for people to realize, and even people who stutter to realize, that we are not our stutter. So just because we stutter, we do not have all the characteristics that whoever writes these things thinks of us. We are all individuals. We are more than our stutters. We are human beings, but we run a stuttering pattern of behavior at some point.
Definitely. Quick one for Adam. Looks like he tuned in a bit late. We have already covered the nervousness topic. Adam came on time, you would have heard it. One more myth actually that I want to add. Whoever, and this is actually based on some of these ones that we just heard now. People who stutter are humble, and that's definitely a myth. If whoever thinks that we're caring and we're good listeners, sometimes, you know what, I'm a terrible listener at times.
I've noticed.
Sometimes I am a terrible listener. And I've actually been told to improve it by my other half, obviously. So that's something I'm going to work on. But I think I'm generally good in if I need to focus. But yeah. With my family, with my other half and stuff, I get in a lot of trouble. I get into a lot of trouble.
I think everyone has selective hearing at some point. People choose what they're interested in and choose what they're not interested in. And usually certain topics or conversations or people, they just haven't got time for. And that's nothing to do with having a stutter. Callum Schofield's just made me laugh on the Facebook feed. Half the time with my mates, what I've got to say is 100% not worth the wait. So we'll have to get his mates to back that up for him.
That's a proper example of someone off their high horse, off their stuttering horse, and you know what? I'm just a normal person. I speak to my friends, we have jokes, they make fun of me, I make fun of them. It's just life, isn't it? Life. I don't have any more myths actually, or any more things to add. Do you have any that you can think from the top of your head?
I think we've covered them all, really. I don't think there's any others.
I'm trying to think.
I don't think there's any others.
I think there's some like stupid ones, like people who stutter are more resourceful and stuff like that. I think I heard that somewhere, because you start to become really quick thinking, and I know it's. I think this is just another example of clutching at straws, to be honest.
Yeah, I think one like stutterers are more resilient people. I think that's a myth.
Oh, definitely. I've got a colleague who actually did 2 tours in Baghdad, and he was actually shot by a double agent and survived. And
wow.
And if I'm anywhere around him, and if I told him, "Oh, Sarosh, I stutter and I'm resilient," this guy would give me a slap across the face.
He'll give you one slap.
Dude, he'll give me a slap across the face for saying something like that, because he was a paratrooper. So I think he can keep resilience. It's cool. I'm all good.
Adam's just put an interesting one in the feed. Myth: we are choosing to block. We're doing it on purpose.
Oof.
Is it cool to block? Would I want to do this if I didn't have to?
Depends if you're applying any voluntary stuttering techniques, etc. But I think Adam may be referring to block in the traditional sense, someone who's disfluent, out of control.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is, Ruben, if you had a choice to not have a stutter and speak spontaneously, fluently, whenever you want, on cue, in any situation that you wanted, would you choose that over having a stutter?
Of course, of course.
So it's not a choice that we've made. We haven't chosen to have a stutter. We haven't chosen to block out of control.
But who came up with that particular myth? Is that something that he just made up right now? Have been told this before. Before Starfish, I didn't do it all the time. Interesting. Dude, there's so much crap out there. That's all I'm going to say.
Yep, there is.
So much.
There is.
So much.
But yeah, so those are the myths that we've confirmed are definitely myths. Any others, Ruben? Any final myths? Any final words?
Dude, I think I'm done. I think I'm done with myths. And to be honest, I don't want to hear any more, actually, for the rest of the day. I don't think I can handle any more myths, because some of these things have just been thrown about, and a few by people in the stuttering community at times, and a few by just random people. And I'm just thinking, if you stop and pause just for a few seconds, really process what they've just said, and you just think, are you done with something? Like, everyone can be caring or not. Everyone can be patient or not. Everyone can be resilient or not. It isn't like things that you directly get from stuttering. I've come across people who stutter and they're not resilient at all, and some who are. And you apply the same with patience and all the other myths as well. So just so much misinformation out there, and plus bit annoying that on that website where they had the correction to the myth, there was a myth in that correction as well. And because of all this ambiguity, it does cause problems. It does cause confusion when people who stutter speak to people who don't stutter, and that's when problems occur, right?
Exactly. And I feel sorry for people that haven't got a stutter and are trying to look for information on how to deal with people who have a stutter, because there's so many mixed messages out there that they're probably confused, massively confused. They probably don't know which way to approach it, how to address it, how to make it easier for people. So it's tough. It's tough. And with all the misinformation out there, especially coming from the stuttering community as well, which makes it even harder, because they would think that if it comes from the stuttering community, well, they know because they're part of the stuttering community, but we're still seeing myths within the stuttering community, then they're in a very difficult position. So it's up to us to educate them, tell them that these are myths, reinforce the truth, let people know. And for other members of the stuttering community, we can lead by example as well.
Well said, Chris. Well said. Just to finish off, one last point from me. One last myth from Adam, saying it's cute to stutter. Whether you think of it as a myth or not, Callum kindly responded to Adam and said, might use that in my Tinder bio. You know what? If you can actually make some use of it, then fair enough.
Let us know how you get on, Callum. Let us know how you get on.
Let us know how you get on, please. I'm very, very curious. Chris, over to you and your mic and your headphones.
Well, that is a wrap now. Thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you for contributing on the Facebook feed. Thank you for getting involved. This is the SHB Unfiltered podcast.
Whoa. You forgot to thank one more person.
Ruben Palai.
Oh, thank you. Bloody hell, Chris.
Thank you very much, Ruben, for joining.
Give me one job to praise me. Come on.
I apologize for not praising you enough. But I would like to say thank you to Ruben Pillai for joining me. He has been here consistently with me, or I've been here consistently with him, rather, for 46 episodes. And it has now come to an end. That is the end of episode 46, Myth Busting. So, over to Ruben to finish it off.
When you said it has now come to an end, my heart just sank, but I realized it has just come to an end for this episode. We'll be back tomorrow.
We'll be back tomorrow.
Need to clear that up. But anyway, Chris, as always, thank you very much. And for everyone out there, anyone stuttering or not stuttering, anyone creating myths or anyone trying to correct myths, just remember, stop holding back.